Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Do you know one of the main reasons why Germany was defeated in the Second World War? One of the main reasons was resources. Without resources, you can't function as a society unless you're a very backward society. You can't wage war. You can't be independent because if you're not strong economically, you cannot be militarily strong. Therefore, you're going to be at the whim or whatever better, powerful country wants something from you. And they always want something from everybody else. That's the way we are. Now, resources. How do you get resources? You either have resources on your territory, okay? Or you make a deal with someone who has resources. You befriend someone. And if you somehow have a good military, somehow, like let's say like North Korea, you can say, well, North Korea is not economically flourishing, but it has nuclear weapons, which is by definition stronger than other countries in Europe that might have, I don't know, F-16s and F-22s and whatever they have. But North Korea in a direct war, direct with no gloves on, will fuck them in 2 minutes. And let's say the economy of Czech Republic, or let's say Norway or Sweden, it's much stronger than the economy of North Korea. North Korea has no resources, they depend on others, but let's say Norway has resources. Luckily, they found oil and natural gas, if I remember, in the sea over there, a little bit north of them. Correct? Correct. Without them, they would have been, they were going down. Look at their economy. Don't believe me. Just check their economy. Since they found oil over there, shoot up. That's all their economy. Good for them. Good for them. But I'm just saying, military, if you have a good military, you can get your resources from others that you're going to invade. Let's put it this way. In this way, but having resources, you can produce, you can be independent. Your people, your nation will probably not be starving because you have resources. If you have, I don't know, crops, you have fields, you got natural gas, you got oil, you got wood, you got water. What else do you need? The basics are over there. So in this case, Putin and Russia help Belarus become a nuclear power. So Belarus is a nuclear power. Iran wants to be a nuclear power and is because it has nuclear power, nuclear reactors, right, for peaceful purposes. So that means the country could be independent with the resources, even though they have to get the material from somewhere else. But nevertheless, that means if you create your own energy, like for instance Belarus, that means that improves or should improve the standards of life of their own people. So that's a positive thing. Oh, Russia helps Belarus and it just opened up a nuclear power. And Russia also helps Turkey become a nuclear power and they open over there a reactor. So Russians are helping left and right. The Americans are helping as well. So let me show you how Belarus became a nuclear power. Russia Today, 29th of January 2024. Belarus now a nuclear power, Putin says. The construction of Belarus's first nuclear power plant has given rise to a whole new industry, the Russian leader said. Belarus has joined the club of nuclear powers, President of Russia, Putin, said on Monday. He was referring to Minsk successfully operating its first nuclear power station, which was built by Rosatom, Russia's state atomic energy corporation. It's just going to be a parallel world. These guys are going to have their plantations. These guys are going to have their club. Belarus Energy Ministry gave the official green light in November to the commercial operation of the station's second power unit, with a total power generating capacity of 2,400 megawatts. The plant is expected to cover up to 40% of the nation's energy needs. Well, they don't look for clean energy. Good. They look for efficiency. The media reported at that time, and I'm quoting, this is a major step forward. Nuclear energy, these imbeciles don't call it clean energy, okay? Or renewable anyway. Putin said on Monday, commenting on the development, The Russian leader said the construction of the power plant had given rise to a whole new industry in the neighboring country. In this sense, Belarus has certainly become a nuclear power, he added. Located not far from from the city of Ostrovets in northwestern Belarus, the power plant was built between 2013 and 2023, 10 years, by Atomstroy Export, a subsidiary of Rosatom. It is the first nuclear power station outside of Russia to use Rosatom's state-of-the-art nuclear reactors of the third-plus generation, RIA Novosti reported. In 2023, Moscow also stationed nuclear weapons in Belarus, following repeated requests from Minsk, and Putin could not refuse them. The Belarusian leadership cited aggressive Western policy and the perceived threat posed by the U.S. nuclear weaponry on the soil of some Washington's vassal states in Europe. I indulge myself to replace allies for vassals. Russia also signaled its readiness to use any weaponry at its disposal to protect Belarus, should it be attacked. So you're going to be nuked. Military cooperation between the two neighbors further accelerated amid the ongoing conflict between Kiev and Moscow, now between Washington and Moscow. Putin announced his discussion to station nuclear weapons in Belarus in March 2023 in response to the UK's plans to provide Ukraine with depleted uranium munitions, a move slammed by Moscow as reckless and irresponsible. I wouldn't have even argued that. If I were in this guy's shoes, I would say, we just decided because we decided. Why should I respond to you? Why should you should be the actors? Well, because Russia, it seems like, still cares about building trust on the rest of the world, which is the majority of the countries. They watch and see violations on that side and lack or less violations on this one. They see how these guys are functioning with threats, blackmail, regime change, and bombardments versus the other ones. So who do you want to befriend? That guy or this guy? I mean, the best way would be don't join anybody, but the problem is in the neighborhood, you have to, for protection. That's the way it is. They say no rule-based world order. Yeah, and who's the boss? So in July 2023, Russia said it could consider withdrawing its tactical nuclear weapons from Belarus if the US and NATO reverse their current political course on remove Washington's nuclear arsenal from Europe and dismantle its infrastructure. That will never happen. Therefore, the Russians will have forever nuclear weapons in Belarus and possibly in all across the ocean. I just made a video today, or maybe in Kaliningrad, even though I don't know how much protection they can offer to those bombs or nuclear arsenal in Kaliningrad. If they do that, you're gonna hear these guys scrambling like chicken without heads in Europe. But they have 5 countries in Europe have US deployed nuclear weapons. It's such a hypocritical move. But anyway, that's the way it is, my friends. And the Russians did not like that, and the Americans are upset with the Russians that they did not like to be continuously by these guys. By coming closer to you, we're going to come closer to your borders, can hit you faster. You can't do that to us. Only we can do that to you. And if you say you don't like it, oh, come on now. It's like a rapist go over there and does what he does, the criminal stuff. And then obviously the victim doesn't like that, and he's upset with the victim. She always slaps her around. You don't like this? I mean, free service here. The same the Americans. They expect the Russians not to say anything and just get it deep. You can't keep your mouth shut when you see this kind of garbage, but in order to say something about it, you have to know something about it. Well, knowledge is a continuous process. We gather information, we gather knowledge, we put things together, we form patterns, memorize it, create patterns, and then you realize kind of who's who and what's what. And remember, it's not black and white. It's not good versus evil. That's garbage. That is infantile mentality. And those guys with superstitions have that kind of good versus evil mentality. But that's a different story. Nevertheless, Russia helped Ukraine, Belarus to be independent 40% from whomever else. It's true that probably the Russians will provide the fuel over there to be processed, enrich the uranium, and then they will depend on the Russians. But hey, as I said, can you do it on your own? That would be the ideal scenario, but you can't. Imagine if it were by the Americans, Iran would not have nuclear reactors over there. So nuclear energy, peaceful energy. No, so that means those guys had to depend on someone and do something else. And who's the United States to tell them? If you talk about terrorism and so on, I covered that with former president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, when he calls out these guys, who are the terrorists? Those guys or us? Watch that video. I made it about a week ago. So thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like Russians are helping the Belarusian people. You know, it's somewhere in the middle. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.